Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Suman Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy. I'm a flow state specialist, a flow state guide, and I'm here to help you feel your best and perform your best. Today we're talking about what is the most attraction switch for you. If you're familiar with social dynamics, you'll understand that there's 5 attraction switches, okay? That the secrets of your attraction comes down to 2 things: your scarcity and your mystery. Your scarcity meaning you can't be so easily available. You gotta value your time way more. You gotta value your energy and your time and what you're doing way more than what is happening right now. You gotta double down on that thing. And not in a way where you're completely cutting off everybody else from that thing. You're actually becoming the connector for your passion and them together, you see? So you're actually building a net or a bridge. You're like a spider, right? You're just building the web. You're interconnecting everything, and you're using your focus, your focal point, to create that web. And that's what you really want to understand in a very powerful way. Is, are you creating mystery? Or when you're approaching people, you know, you have this storyline in your head that, oh no, they won't like me, or they have a boyfriend. You have all of these premeditations rather than you actually expressing yourself fully and imagining it being the positive. Hey, what if they didn't have a boyfriend and you guys had the most incredible relationship in the future, and you just blew that off by you not approaching or talking to them, you see? So you gotta actually flip your mind from what it's used to as a threat and change it into a challenge. This is what we were learning last night, is that everything is a story. Literally everything is a story, and if you can understand how to rewrite that story, you will start to succeed in this world. Success is just a story. Okay, and the problems create the success story in the end, right? So if you're going through problems right now, just start to understand that, wait a second, yes, things will actually fine-tune in the future if I go about it in the right direction and move in the right path and in the right way. You can't be super hyper attractive if you go into this with the understanding that I'm going to impress everybody and everybody's gonna like me. You have to actually create a niche of yourself. You have to understand that I'm communicating with people, and I'm only going to communicate with those that I have past lives with. Okay, this is a very deep understanding. I'm going to connect with those people that I have a past life with, or I have some kind of a karmic tie with. I already know them from ages ago, right? They're just meeting me now, and it just feels like, yeah, there's a connection forming. However, we've known each other from forever, right? And that's the vibe that you want to maintain throughout this time. You really want to understand that you can actually write the story. You don't need somebody else to write the story for you, okay? Of course, the universe is writing the story and you're giving it the ultimate freedom. Last night was a very experimental channeling, but I understood what to do with that, you see? I feel like it was an important addition or a tweak that we made in order to really refine and understand this toolbox or this toolkit of what we're really creating here. The leader of men is the men that women wish to follow. Not only women, but also other men want to follow that man. In evolutionary psychology, it's important that you become a leader of your own tribe. Number 2, being a protector of loved ones. This basically means you have a status of being a protector. Being taller or stronger could also have this effect, but primarily you make women feel very safe around you. If you can look like a protector, okay, and of course, with physicality, if you're taller and you're more jacked, right? Yes, evolutionarily speaking, you are protective of her, okay? She wants a guy that she feels very safe around, not unsafe around. If you look like the guy who can get robbed, or the guy that, you know, that can easily get trampled over, and she's not gonna wanna be around that energy. I'm gonna be plain and simple. She's not gonna be very attracted to that. As a man, you gotta learn how to fight. You gotta learn how to protect yourself and your tribe. And so build your social intelligence, but also your emotional intelligence. The next one is pre-selection. So you're pre-selected by other women. What does that show? She sees all these women like you, so therefore you are safe around women. There's gotta be a reason why so many women like you. And usually in evolutionary psychology, or genetically speaking, if a woman flock around one guy, he's the alpha, right? He is the leader. He is that guy. This is also important to understand. If newer women are also to come into the picture, they would like him as well because he's safe. Try this out. I mean, go out with a girlfriend of yours, a girl who's a friend to you, and you'll start to notice that a lot more women are open to talking to you, okay? Why? Because they see you with her and They assume that you guys are together or whatever, and they feel much more comfortable opening up, and they don't have this barrier like, oh, he's out there to try to impress me or pick me up or try to get my number. She feels the safety. She feels a non-threatening approach, right? The willingness to emote. This is a very complicated one, and this, I would say, is the most important one. At least for me, this is what I've noticed. Being very expressive and being in my own zone and flow state, I've had to understand that I've got to emphasize my own personality. I've got to understand that I've got to be my personality, but then 2.0, amplified. You get that? Like, yes, there's me, but then there's the amplification of me that can take it to its greatest level. The willingness to emote is the ability to switch through vibes. You're not just one single vibe all the time. Like, if she sees you as the positive, nice guy, really happy and overly abundant and all that stuff, yeah, that's great, but she won't feel connected with you. Now she's seen you a little bit angry, and you've been able to handle that anger. Now she's seen you understand and experience sadness, but overcome it very quickly. What is she doing then? She's testing to see how emotional you are, right? How much resilience or grit or a testament to you handling these emotions can you handle? As a man, it's not just enough to be strong. You gotta be tender. How else are you going to hold relationships? You gotta have that caring edge about you. The thing here is women tend to connect with others emotionally. Men, not so much so. We tend to struggle with that a little bit growing up. This is about creating emotional spikes, but also emotionally creating an impact with your communication. If what you're saying is boring and blah, and it has no mystery or something alive to it, it's not creating that scarcity effect in terms of you're a rare breed, you're a rare quality. It's like, so what? She'll move on. There's plenty of other fish in the sea, she's thinking, and you're thinking the same. What makes you stand out? But you gotta actually walk the talk. You gotta be the type of man that you know that no other man can be like me, because I have a unique life experience and I'm here to show up and do things my own very way. I have my own vocabulary, you see? I don't call them girlfriends, I call them karmic ties. I don't call them, friendships, I call them past lives. I have my own vocabulary or vocabulary with how I'm speaking around this. You see? And so, of course, my world is going to morph around it because I am creating my story. This is what we discovered. We were channeling Marbus last night, right? And he told us to tap into the power of you creating your own story. Finally, we have the attraction switch of being a successful risk taker. Remember, a successful risk taker, right? Not a stupid risk taker. Someone who takes a successful risk is attractive. Why? Because it shows ambition. It shows purpose, it shows determination. You're going past the social milieu. You're going past the status quo. You're going past the mediocre and taking a risk. You're doubling down on something. Let's say you're playing poker without a poker face and you're reacting to all your cards, and other people can sense that maybe you don't have good cards, okay? And they're playing accordingly, okay? So your face determines what you're feeling, and other people can see how you're playing the game. But what if you could Stone Cold Steve Austin? What if you could keep a stoic face as you're communicating, but at the right moments, you have that emotion come out and you have it come through. You're not overly animated and expressive. You're actually very calm in your beingness, okay? Now, I wouldn't even say it's the willingness to emote that's the most attractive attraction switch. I would say it's actually the openness to actually communicate. Maybe we can add a sixth one to this, right? But it's the ability to have social skills and have a social acuity and an understanding of what's going on in the environment. Basically, it's a social awareness, okay? And I know this kind of goes into willingness to emote. Like, of course, you got to have social awareness. Like, if two people are sitting down at a table and one is gone and you see two cups on the table, you don't just go and sit in their chair when you see the two cups there, right? When you have awareness, you can see the two cups and be like, oh, are you here with your boyfriend or your friend? Or right, then you can make that conversation. That makes more sense because you're observant, right? You are observing the environment for what is going on. You're observing what you notice, okay? You're almost like a cultural ethnographer, right? Going through these venues in different places and realizing and expressing yourself from the depths of your heart and your mind, right? So, and of course, this kind of information is from Mystery, one of the greatest pickup artists in the world, who, have discovered this and, shared it with this group of men and to try to get over their social anxiety and actually figure things out with how this whole dating market works. And it also goes to show you why being an unattractive male, in your personality especially, and if you lack all of these attraction switches, you're not going to be that attractive, okay? So you want to have all of these attraction switches, okay, working for you and not against you. I would also say that it's very, very important that you do lots and lots of compliance tests with people just to understand their rapport with you and to understand, how much they're willing to trust you, right? Because trust is a huge important and a huge component when it comes down to relationships. If we don't have trust over someone, how are we going to continue the conversation if we have all these trust issues? Okay, so your connection with your own heart, your own oxytocin, your own trust is really key in order for you to connect with others. Now, obviously, a girl who's not attracted to you, she's not going to care that you're only the protector of loved ones or something like this, right? These traits can already amplify if she's already attracted to you, okay? These are amplifiers, these are switches. But also it's important to understand that some of these guys who are watching this video, they have these switches turned all the way off. They're not taking any goddamn risks. They're not expressing themselves or emoting themselves. They're just monotone. They're not a leader of men, right? They're a follower in their job, and they're always the beta male in every situation. They don't have any friends, and so there's no social proof. And if there's no friends, then there's no pre-selection either, right? Women don't want to be around you. Now, what if you are creating a fun vibe? You're creating your own culture, your own movement. You're a thought leader. Other men and other women come around you. You notice this person getting endorsed by high-level people, okay? I know some high-level people in my life. It's really, really key and really, really important as to who you know, okay? Time is just a measurement of our spiritual learning in this thing. You got to understand something, man. The monk cannot ever get seduced. You understand that? He's the one doing the seducing. He's the one leading people astray from their path to their Dharma's path, right? Or the path of the enlightened one. So start to understand that you got to live like a monk. Because there's a story of this monk, right? And there's this like prostitute woman who's trying to like seduce him and says that, when will you have me? When will you be around me? When will you take care of me? When will you tuck me into bed? When will you... She keeps saying all these seductive and suggestive things. The monk says, I will, one day I will, okay? It goes years and years, this woman, she loses her work, she gets homeless, she, becomes again, she has a terrible life, she's now gotten some kind of terminal illness, and then eventually the monk comes back and looks after her, okay? That's the story. Yeah, I know that's kind of depressing, it's like, yeah, but hey, the monk is now taking care of her like he said he would, okay? When will you be next to me? Hey, when I probably get dysentery and I'm in the hospital, right? So start to understand that that is the mentality. It's like you already know your future, right? You have the psychic insight. It'll happen, right? And you don't rush anything. A lot of the greatest seducers of all time, they know not to rush this thing and get a quick one-night stand or whatever, right? They're creating an impact, ripple effects, drip feeding their audience. I'm not giving you all the tips in the world in this one video, though it may seem like that. I do give a lot of fuck ton of value, but besides that, I'm still drip feeding, and that's the mentality, okay? You give people some free samples of who they think you are and your 2.0 version. They get little glimpses, little highlight reels of who you actually are, and then they meet you in person and they get the whole picture. They get the holistic understanding of what it means to be around your presence. The channeling yesterday is very interesting, got us to understand that, without trees we won't get oxygen and we won't be able to breathe in this fresh air. And what's the food that is in our stomach? It is from the meal that we last ate, and that is also keeping us alive, and so are the trees, and we are a part of nature. Ultimately, that's what he concluded, is we are a part of nature. If you want that full recording, you can get it for only $18. You can PayPal me, okay? And I'll send you over the recording of that channeled material. So attraction to you are in your masculine polarity, you're going to be magnetic to a feminine polarity, okay? So if you're looking for more feminine women, you're going to have to be more masculine yourself, okay? That just makes sense, okay? That's how this chemistry works. That's what chemistry is, okay? There's a difference. Two same genetics or chemistry, this is why we're not attracted to our own family members, right? Why there's no incest and things like this happening. There's a genetic off-puttedness of the pheromones, right? But if the pheromones are different and somewhat, and it sees that, wow, I have the opportunity to do this, my genes can go all throughout this world, actually, right? There's billions on the planet, actually, and that I have the opportunity to invest my genes in somebody maybe from another culture, right? And I understand that there is this attraction happening, okay? If you look at all of these old storylines of the, you know, Lawrence of Arabia, right? That whole storyline of the Sheik, right? If you know the Sheik, and you know the acting of that, you understand that that was a very, very attractive movie to people, right? This kind of exotic, erotic man coming and seducing a white woman, right? There's something very seductive, taboo, transgressive about that topic that a lot of people saw, and they got mesmerized by that. Rasputin, right? Take the example of Rasputin. He had these majestic magnetic eyes, and he could get people to feel how other people were feeling. And he had this ability to make people feel safe and cry on his shoulders. And he would like sit and let people cry in his arms. So talk about protector of loved ones. Talk about pre-selection, him coming from, you know, St. Peter's or wherever he came from to go to another part of the village to connect with the czars and the czarina. And you got to understand, this guy used to get into fights and like steal horses and random stuff, where he used to be a rebel, but then he left that path and he joined this cult where he understood that, you know, they would be having sex in this cult. And Rasputin, he got a part of that. He was a part of that cult, and he understood that it is only through sin that I can redeem myself, and through redemption I can then get back and connect with God or Jesus, right? And so that was his like pilgrimage as a monk, right? The perverted monk, you could call him. He went through this whole experience. He came back and he had these superpowers, right? In a sense, where he could really understand people, and he could connect with people, right? Now, of course, it's a very taboo example, but you understand that you have an ability to constantly rewrite and redraft your self-image. You don't have to be the guy that you've always been, man. You get that? You can wake up tomorrow and be someone completely different, and people will challenge you. Yes, people will threaten you. People will call you fake. But you are going to have to still keep living in that congruency. And once you keep doing that and you keep being congruent with your character, every single day I'm congruent, okay? Every single day I'm more of me than I could have been, you see? And so that's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm doubling down on. That's what I'm encouraged to explore. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. Give it a like, a thumbs up, you know, share it with a friend. I think this is a very, very important aspect that we all need to have. Specifically, if flow state was an attraction switch, I know that I would double down and have that be one of my greatest tools that I would use in order to seduce not just myself, the entire planet. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same again. Take care of yourself. We're all going to make it.